Most people build ElevenLabs voice agents and spend wondering why they still sound robotic. They change the voice model, they try a different voice, they adjust the speed and even the pitch, but nothing changes. The problem is not the voice, the problem is not the model. However, the problem is the system prompt. And specifically, the fact that most people either writing the system prompt like a ChatGPT prompt or copying something they found online without truly understanding what each part actually does. A system prompt is the brain of your agent. Without it, your agent has no identity, no direction, and no rules. It will just do whatever it feels like in the moment, and that is not something you want happening on a live call with a customer. But here is what nobody explains properly. That is, the way you structure a system prompt for ElevenLabs voice agent is completely different from how you write one for other conversational AI tools. Most people treat them the same way and then wonder why their agent keeps hallucinating, going off the script, or asking the same question 2 or 3 times in a single call. I'm Fike, co-founder of Orchestrix alongside Indika. We build AI automations and web products for businesses. And today, I'm showing you the exact system prompt framework we use at Orchestrix to build ElevenLabs voice agents that actually sound human and stay on track throughout a call. By the end of this video, you will know what every section of the prompt does, why it is structured the way it is, and how to write your own from scratch for any business, any clients. Let us get into it. I'm going to share my screen now. I have the full framework right here and we're going to go through it together. I have my prompts pasted right inside the system prompt of my ElevenLabs voice agent. The first section here is the personality. This personality is you telling the agent who it is, that is, its name, the company it represents, its character, how it sounds, and how it should come across on every single call. You tell it, this is your name, just the way I've written it here. You are Jake. This is the company you work for. This is what the company does. And this is how it should behave. For instance, I wrote mine as, you are Jake, the AI front desk receptionist for Fluorite Plumbing, a family-owned emergency and residential plumbing company serving home owners and landlords. That is, you also give it, I also write, you are calm, friendly, reassuring. The kind of person who makes a stressed caller feel like their problem is already being handled. Furthermore, I told it how to speak naturally. That is, I asked it to use contractions, say things like got it, no worries at all. And I also told it never to say, I would be happy to assist you with that, because that's how scripted voice agents. So that is for the personality. Don't forget, the personality has to do with the identity and the character, nothing else. Let's go over to the second section, which is the environment. This one is unique to ElevenLabs, and you will not find it emphasized the same way other AI conversational tools does. The environment section here tells the agent where it is operating and who it is going to speak with. Like the way I wrote mine, you are handling inbound phone calls. There are different kinds of phone calls. You have the inbound and the outbound. So you need to tell your voice agent if your voice agent is handling the inbound phone calls or the outbound. Now, I further gave it who it is going to be speaking with. It's speaking with homeowners, 10 landlords. This really matters more than you may realize, because the way an agent should behave on an inbound phone call from a frustrated customer is totally or completely different from how it should behave as an outbound call. The communication style will change, the tone also will change, and the patience level also changes, because there are sometimes the people that are called are already stressed or frustrated. So the expectations of the person on the other side change completely. You need to set that scene explicitly in your environment. You tell the agent you are handling inbound or outbound from phone calls from frustrated customers, every other information that needs to be supplied. You are giving your agent the full context about the world it is walking into, before the first word, you are giving your agent the full context about the word it is walking into before the first call comes in. Let's go over to the third section, which is the goal. This is the most important section in the entire framework of your prompts. ElevenLabs documentation calls this the call workflow, and it can also be likened to the spine of your prompts. That is, everything else wraps around it and supports it. But this is what actually makes your agent to do its job. The goal section is a numbered step-by-step list of exactly what the agent should do from the moment a caller calls in. And the critical thing here is the word numbered. You must use a markdown formatting, just the way we've been using, that is, use these hashtag headers for section titles. Let me scroll up. In the personality section, we started with the hashtag. This is a markdown formatting. Also, let's go back to the goals. You use numbers for each step and letters for sub-steps. When you have multiple things that need to happen under one condition, those are the sub-steps, just the same way we have in number 6 here. If you write your instructions as plain paragraphs, the LLM reads them as suggestion, that is, things to consider. However, when you number them in markdown formats, the LLM places them in an order. That single difference changes the behavior of your agent significantly. So, this is how your goal should look like. Number 1, which is the step 1, under the main title of the goal, greet the caller warmly. Step 2, listen to the caller fully before responding. Your step 3 may not be the same as mine. If you need to use a knowledge base, you want your agent to check the knowledge base, that might be your step 3, whereby you say, okay, before answering the factual question, check the knowledge base first. And you put something. Let me take you through number 4. Here in my own number 4, there is a step I capitalized. That is, here I told the agent that this step is important. And what this means is that the agent will never guess an answer. If the caller has an emergency, this is what I want you to do. For yours, it may be if the caller wants to book an appointment. For yours, it may be before answering the factual question, check the knowledge base first. Then you include this step is important. It does something to your agent will never guess. There is something I want you to look at, which is in step 6. Notice how my step 6 has sub-steps. And I labeled the sub-steps alphabetically, that is 6A to 6D. This does something to your agent. It tells your agent that before you go over to step 7, you need to get all these done. This is intentional because ElevenLabs respond to that phrase by treating all these instructions as a high priority flag. Okay, let's go over to the next section, which is the tone. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is a section most people rush through or skip entirely. The tone is not just 2 lines. I don't have 2 lines here. I started by telling it to be calm, warm, and professional. I want it to start that way. So you tell your agent how it should sound. But in this tone, this is where ElevenLabs gives you something that no other conversational AI tools does. In this tone, ElevenLabs has a feature called expressive mode. It lets your agent output little tags directly inside their replies. And the voice model actually acts them out. For instance, if you want it to laugh, the voice agent will do that. If you want it to be slow, just the way I put it here, your voice agent will output that. And in ElevenLabs documentation, they are very clear that these tags, which are called audio tags, should be inside the system prompt. So I've put mine in the tone section because I want my agent to sound just like this when it is speaking. Now, the next one I want us to see, the next section is the guardrails. The guardrails, your non-negotiable rules. These are things your agent must never do, regardless of what the caller says, how the caller phrases it, or how many times they ask. And in ElevenLabs documentation, it was stated specifically that writing your single highest stake rule in capital letters So your guardrail section might look like this, just like mine. Never give a price or quote over the phone. Yours might be never fabricate information, prices, or policies that are not confirmed in the knowledge base. So you put everything there. The guardrail serves as a wall of your agent's world. It will not go outside them. However, one thing that I want you to know is that ElevenLabs also have a native guardrails that is built into the platform itself. Here, you can find it here. You can enable some of these guardrails. They handle things like prompt injection, harmful content, jailbreaking attempts, and the rest. So you can use both of these together. You can use the guardrails here and also include it in your system prompts. The next section I want us to go over is the character normalization. This section is only relevant when your agent is structured data like email addresses, phone numbers, or any data you want your agent to collect during the call. So if your agent never collects any data, any information from the caller, you can always skip this step. Character normalization tells your agent how to handle data that a text-to-speech model might mispronounce or misread if it's not given explicit instruction. The most common example is email addresses. For instance, I stated it there that when collecting an email address, ask the caller to spell it out if the address is unclear. If the caller says something like jack@flowright.com, I expect the agent not to repeat that back as one compromised word. However, it should clearly read it, break it down letters by letters, JAKE@flowright.com, for the caller to confirm that it's truly right. So in this section, you write something like, when collecting an email address, when collecting even physical addresses. I also stated it here because this agent is expected to collect phone numbers of callers. So I stated it here that it should read it back digits by digits. So this is a small section, but it eliminates a lot of errors that sound very unprofessional on real calls. Lastly, the next section I have here is the error handling. Yes, I want you to look at this error handling section as your global safety net for every situation your agent cannot resolve on its own. For instance, what happens when the agent calls a tool and that tool fails? You need to tell it what to do. What happens when the knowledge base does not have the answer to the caller's questions? Or what happens when the agent genuinely does not know what to do next? This is where you define the fallback behavior of your voice agent. You will tell it never to go silent when it does not know what to do, never to guess, invent information to fill that gap. You also include never to leave the customer or the caller in an uncomfortable silence. So, I've stated it in mind. If you're unable to answer a question from your knowledge base or something goes wrong with the booking process, stay calm and do not guess. Rather, say, I want to make sure you get the right answer on that. Let me make a note and have one of our team call you back directly. Can I just confirm your name and best number? So this is your fallback plan. Now, every professional agent needs one of these. And most people building voice agents forget to give their voice agent a fallback plan. There are two things I want to quickly address before we leave the screen share. And these two things are your tools and your knowledge base. These two things are not expected to be written as full sections in every of your prompts. However, you only include guidance on them when your specific agent is actually using those features. For instance, for your tools, ElevenLabs requires that you describe each tool inside the prompt with 4 key things, which when to use it, what information to collect before calling the tool, how to call it step by step, and what to do if the tool fails. For the knowledge base, you tell the agent that the knowledge base exists, and you also tell it how to use it. Something like, before answering any factual question, always check the knowledge base first. You do not paste your knowledge base directly inside your system prompts. And one thing that catches people consistently is the name you give a tool inside your ElevenLabs must be exactly the same name you reference in your system prompts. If the name of your tool is called availability, you reference the same name in your system prompts. Not something similar or something close, but exactly the same, character for character, because one spelling difference will affect your agent effectiveness. So to bring these all together, the framework has 8 components. That is the personality, the environment, the goal, the tone, the guardrails, the character normalization, the error tools, and knowledge base. Don't forget that these 3, that is the personality, the environment, and the goal, are non-negotiable in every agent you will ever build. The rest you had based on what the specific agent needs to do. Now, here is what I want you to do. Pick one business and write a system prompt using this framework right now. Get it on the paper, test the agent, see where it breaks, and rebuild. That is the fastest way to get good at this. If you want us to build AI voice agents like this for your business, the link to reach us at Orchestrix is in the description. And if you want to keep learning how we build, kindly subscribe to our channel. We release new content every week. See you in the next.